Hi, welcome to Project Brupeg. We're a couple that bought a sunken fishing trawler and decided, you know what's missing in this world? Bikini-clad models in the Caribbean on a boat, walking up and down white sand, drinking beer and giggling. So that's exactly what we're building. Hey, welcome back to Project Brupeg.
The story of a sunken fishing trawler being converted by a couple of mad Kiwis into a global expedition and research boat.
This week we're moving our water tank into the engine room.
We're going to bend a piece of straight metal that shouldn't be bent into a perfect round.
We've also got a pretty neat solution that was suggested by Matt Evans-Koch for the hatch and Assassin Lex for the ventilation pipes that go down into the downstairs room. So we'll show you what we're going to do there.
And we'll explain why we've gone for a water cylinder rather than an instant hot water system for our water supply.
It's mainly because it's awesome.
That's awesome. Who needs a trolley?
There was quite a bit of chatter on the last episode about why are we not using an instant hot water system. You know, it's so logical, it doesn't take up any room, it's, you know, you don't have to have big piles of water storing around in the boat and all that sort of carry on. And to a point you'd be right. If we were staying in the tropics, a gas hot water system would be easy because you can pretty much power it the whole year round without any drama. You don't have to keep lots of water and you can just make what you need. So theoretically it's pretty energy efficient. However, for our specific variables, it's not. The reason we chose electric tank is because when we're steaming we can use the waste engine heat from either the main engine or the generator and we can dump it into the hot water cylinder, so it's essentially free heat. When we're stopped, we have an excess of solar at the moment, so our batteries are fully charged by sort of 7 AM in the morning. So the whole day our solar panels are spent basically switched off and essentially just burning power off. So that can be used to heat the hot water cylinder, so you just connect it via your inverter. When the batteries are on their float mode, you can basically dump that excess solar back into the tank. When we go to Antarctica and some of the cold areas of the world, we're going to not have excess solar. In fact, the solar panels are coming off when we go to Antarctica, because if they ice up, we can't smash them with a hammer and get rid of the ice, so they're coming off the roof. We will, however, have wind generation. We're going to have two pretty big wind turbines on the back of Brupeg, so we're going to have excess renewable generation again, so we'll be able to dump that excess back into the tank, and it essentially works like a battery. Once everything's charged, once all of the house bank and that sort of thing's charged and we're not using all of that power that's being generated, whatever's left over gets dumped back as hot water into the cylinder. Easy and simple solution to dealing with those pipes that are in the way of the hatch that we built 4 years ago. We're actually just going to cut them out and make them removable. We had some awesome ideas come through. One of our Patreons, Matt Evans-Koch, he suggested cutting the hatch in half and having obviously two smaller hatches. Awesome idea, because then you've got smaller hatches to deal with. You can probably lift them by yourself. You don't actually have to use something like a chain block like we have been. We're actually not going to do that. We thought we originally were, but we're not going to do that because we've solved it by making the pipes removable. Now there's a couple of ways you can do that. You can do like a rubber joiner top and bottom. We don't physically have the room down the bottom, so we'd have to come up with something else, but we also can't have the rubber inside for Jess. She'd react to the smell of it. So we're just going to do a simple stainless flange. We'll bolt them all together.
Hi baby. Hello darling. Hi. You can smell the chicken. Slow cooked chicken leftovers, so I'm going to give her a little bit. Yes, darling. Yes, yes. Okay. She's been off her food a little bit. She brought in 3 lizards last week, and I think she probably ate a little bit too much of lizard because she's been off her food. So, plain chicken she seems to be able to cope with.
So in terms of making the channel work, Jess has a little editing studio that we built for her. Hello. So she's got a 27-inch Mac and a decent workbench and everything. We have a NAS upstairs for all of our file storage, and we've got a pretty reasonable sort of internet set up on the boat. That's awesome for the editing sides of everything for the channel. However, there's quite a lot of stuff that happens outside of that, so there's heaps of emails and messages and dealing with suppliers and all the other bits and pieces in the background that you never get to see. I do a lot of that stuff up in the wheelhouse at the moment, and it's kind of getting unmanageable, so we're building a second desk in the studio, and that's going to allow me to put our spare Mac, which also doubles as our secondary editing computer if that one over there goes in has a hissy fit. Having a spare Mac allows us to have redundancy for editing, but also allows us to do all of the background stuff for the channel.
Sort of like a
small,
like this?
Yeah, small return on it.
The computer can sort of sit here.
Yeah, plenty of cooling for the back of the computer too.
Yeah, well, it'll get it low, won't it?
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, the desks are actually quite low. This is not.
That'll be lower than that thing there.
Yeah, so we're thinking 500.
Yeah.
From the insulation.
Yeah, from there.
Because
yeah.
it's an internal wall, so it's 1 layer of insulation just for quiet. I think that sounds really good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, cool.
And we've got like storage right along here.
Yeah, yeah. I was thinking something like that because it's not quite 90 on that corner.
This is the captain's hat that Tim bought me.
Yar.
It's our little talisman for the boat from Tim.
Cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and
Nothing is square in this boat, or very little.
to write up a song for just anyone. I was always the one to find myself lost in long conversations. Cause I've always been told that things will unfold if you keep on waiting. But then you came along and proved me all wrong. I was so mistaken. Cause you all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take on my love and make them better.
Right.
I feel so free, oh my sweet baby.
Slightly too short, but we'll be able to make that work.
I was never the one to give up the ghost. No, I was so stuck. I kept on playing my part, wanting to give up cause nothing was changing. But with you it's so clear, and now that you're here I see colors in every spectrum. Guess I finally learned my lesson. Cause you glue all the pieces back together. Yeah, you take all my wrongs and make them better. Yeah, you're making me wanna try forever. And I feel so free, oh my sweet baby. Myself, and I'm thinking out loud. We won't need
Stop hiding.
else.
Work to do.
Side driver. This is where the kitchen is now living for a little bit until we get onto it. It shouldn't be too long.
We need to build a bracket for the water tank to sit into, so it's a tall column of water, so as the boat rocks side to side, that column's going to try and leave the boat of its own accord. So we have to make the bracket pretty bloody strong. So what the plan is on the bottom here, we just need to make something that the tank sort of slots down into. You can't move side to side. And then on the very top, we're going to build a similar sort of bracket, but that's basically going to push the tank down so that it's held rigid into the bottom bracket. Now, one thing we do need to add in is bracing on each side. So we need to put something down left and right and then forward and back, just to allow for the tank to, the center of the tank to stay put as well. The tank itself is a household tank, so it's only probably thin steel. I don't know how thick, but I'm guessing probably no more than 2 mil. It's relatively thin. And we'll probably use something like 6 mil just so that we've got, and put it on its edge so we've got something pretty rigid. Yeah, but we'll get this bottom bracket built and then everything else sort of gets built from there on.
We were thinking about a tray and just welding it in, but we don't need to worry, it's just water. If it does go down the bilge, we'll have bilge pumps. It's not a big deal. But we are thinking that the bracket needs to really hold the bottom of the tank. We're going to make a round bracket or like a hoop out of straight 50 by 50 stainless angle. The reason we're not doing an easier way is because we couldn't get it made. No one could bend it that way, so we're going to have to do it ourselves. So it's going to be a bit time consuming, but we'll get there. You'll see soon how we're going to build this round hoop-like bracket. We're just going to mirror that above, but because it doesn't matter if there's no water, we're just going to make that out of mild steel just to save some money and just because we have it here. The upstairs bracket, the one at the top, how do we attach the hoop to the deckhead above? I'll put a little translation in there just in case there's any confusion. But we're just going to do 2 brackets and hold it up there somehow. But like most things when we're fabricating ourselves, you know, you learn as you go and you muck it up as you go and you just got to figure it out. It's a mess. It's a real mess. It's one of the jobs that I'm responsible for, is getting this in ship shape. So we're going to build a workbench and tool storage, and we're going to use the air compressor off the Cummins, put it into a tank over by the workbench. I mean, it's just going to be an amazing workspace. We have a comfy seat. It's a seated bench. But that's in the next, over the next probably 6 weeks, coming up to the kitchen build. It's going to look a lot different, but it's a huge job. Just wanted to show you one of the side jobs that you don't see on a day-to-day basis on the episodes.
So we've got to figure out a way to make this a round to fit as a bracket under the water tank. We came up with the idea to cut some gouges or teeth into one side of the 50 by 50 in the hopes that that'll give it the bar enough flex to be able to curl it into a circle. Here you can see Damien's doing a trial with aluminium. It's a softer metal, it's easier to cut. And we didn't know whether we needed to do 20mm teeth or 10mm, so we've done both, and we're going to compare it with the circumference of the circle that we need to make and see what fits. At this point we're just hoping that the bend will actually happen, and it did. We achieved it. It looks like that might work. So here's a template Dame's cutting out. This was what he measured on the tank itself. I don't know that this is cut perfectly
No, it's
round,
not.
you
Maybe
know.
just spin it round.
I think that's perfect, look at that.
Yeah, that's going to work perfect.
Yep, 15.
Yeah. So from there to there is cut with every 20mm, and the radius is too small. Oh, sorry, it's too big a diamond. From here to here, it's cut every 10mm, and it's too tight, so we need to go roughly halfway between the two.
Well, I get on with marking out 15mm intervals along the bar. Dame starts stripping down an old electric bike that he found. He's going to use the brakes, the disc brakes and the tyres for Mark II of my 4-wheel drive wheelchair. Just one of his side projects.
It's got a bit more, doesn't it? It's only 178 more to go. Throw that in there like that. Could you hit any lighter with the biggest hammer we have?
Hang on, it's going to spring off that thing, I think.
Maybe.
I just, how are you going to do that?
If you sat on this bit, we'll get a ratchet.
Whoa, beautiful. You could just like go round in a circle with the welder.
When you squash that, I've already cut that on an angle, so when you squash that it should do that.
Okay.
I just think it's because it's
Yeah,
so oval.
check it, eh?
Okay.
That's pretty close, look at
I
that.
know, it's good, eh? It's not round right now. Let's assuming this is round as well. Remember the tank has to be able to just flop into it.
Yeah, but remember there's 2.5 mil each side, right
True.
round,
True.
which is, it would level out, won't it? Oh, you're thinking there might be like a
Tight
flat or
spot
something.
or
Yeah,
something,
right.
yeah.
I don't think that this is accurate enough to go to that.
No.
Maybe take it up to the tank and try it.
Let's tack it and then take it to the tank
Yeah.
and flop it on the tank.
That's what I
Yeah,
do.
alright, cool. This is where we got up to last night. So we managed to get all of our chops in this made. We've got it to about 99% round. We've got a bit of a kink going on here. It's bigger in that direction than it is in that direction. So we just need to fix that this morning. But what we need to do is get it into a round shape and then start the welding process. So I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to weld this yet. I'm thinking it's probably going to be a combination of TIG and or MIG. But yeah, we'll figure it out as we go, like we always do. I mean, it's so ridiculously close. Trev's telling me stories. He reckons the top of these tanks are a different size to the bottom. I have no idea. So our stainless doodacky that we made, measured from the top, fits good enough. That's not going to move anywhere. I've got it clamped right now, and it's basically round. But
Beautiful.
this isn't round. Like this is still like that. So what I'm thinking is actually putting that bit in the vise and straightening that so that so instead of it being like that, it straightens out to be more round, and then tacking the corner.
Okay, cool.
Right.
Morning.
Good morning, good morning.
We got the round.
Got the round.
Yeah.
Don't touch it.
Yeah, hot.
Bit warm.
You tried this on the...
Not yet.
2.5 mil one.
Don't look at me like that.
This wouldn't be a good point to realise we need plan B.
I think if this doesn't fit, we're making a smaller tank.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Do you want to go in actually just put it on the tank?
Yeah, if it's cold enough now, we can do it.
The strength can we get in the over engineering?
Yeah.
So you've just missed a conversation that was about 45 minutes. Sparkling conversation, and it was about how do we weld one bracket into the engine bay. And we've covered everything from diesel drips, engine bay flooding, cleaning, long-term maintenance, strength of flat bar versus round
Avoiding
pipe.
the use of thicker.
Avoiding the use of thicker.
Using thicker.
Continuous welding or non-continuous welding. Right, now we know what we're going to do with this one bit of steel.
We now have got an idea that we can change.
And it will bloody change. Like, we're going to make that shape like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the circle thing is going to be something like that, roughly.
So this is a piece.
Yeah, that bit goes across there, and we're going to cut this piece of steel to do those sides.
Right.
And this is under the tank.
This sits under the tank, so we're basically we're lifting the stainless off the ground so water and shit can pass under it, doesn't get stuck there and rust the boat out. But also we're creating 3 sides so that anything that flows from the back of the boat, which is where it's always going to flow from, diesel tanks and whatever, will hit the barrier and go around the side so we can clean it out. It doesn't sit under the tank, so we're trying to basically build in safety so the boat doesn't rust out from the inside, essentially. I'm going to router the edges of this bench, so you can see that we've built up the edge with a double layer of plywood. So it's 15mm ply, it's going to be 30mm on the edge just so that it's a wee bit stiffer, and that is the back edge over there against the wall, obviously a hole so that we can put cables and things down, and then this is the router that we're using. So we've got a straight cutting bit, you can see the little blades there, so they're going to rip through and make that edge lovely and straight. So we'll do that to the front edge, and then we'll go to the side here, and then we'll radius off that corner there as well. While I do that, Trev is cutting some steel that we're going to be using to mount our stainless hoop into the engine room, so we'll get that done. Okay, it's time to start chopping some holes in the engine bay. There's always a thing that we hate doing because it's difficult to clean that engine bay, and chopping stuff normally spreads crap everywhere through it. Big fan ready to go to extract any spill. We're going to cut down in here with our stainless ring that we've made. We're going to sink that down into the boat, and then we've got all of our gear down the back, plasma cutter and so on. So it's pretty noisy, but we'll get into it. So it's mid-September and Jess is turning 50. Jess is turning 50. My audience is laughing at this statement. It's mid-September and Jess is turning 50 in November, mid-November. So we have a goal, get the goddamn boat in the water by mid-November, which is 2 months. I don't know if this is possible. Jess is saying things like 4 AM and working until a job's finished and going to sleep after that, not when you're tired and you can't stand up anymore. So this is going to be interesting. Let's put it in, eh?
Well, let's see if it's going to fit, and then we can clean it out of it.
I think we just give it a clean up, clean these edges up and buzz the paint off the bottom so we can weld it. Right, now that we've got that sort of plasmed out and we've got the bottom cleared off with paint, we can get in, mount the frame and start welding it in. And then I think it's as simple as put the tank in and start figuring out this top bracket.
Between a caravan and a boat is that you've got headroom in a caravan.
And boats can tip over. Well, I suppose a caravan can dip over too if you're rally driving. Right, I think that's it. Just put it down, we'll come up with the game plan. We've got clear space over there. Let's put pipework out the front. The tank's in its place. It's close enough that the tin and the insulation on this thing's going to squeeze in. So what we're going to do is fill it with water and actually just press it down into the mount. So now we're just going to wait for this thing to fill up, get 130 odd kg pressing down on it, and then we'll probably put a bit of weight on top, and push it down and mount it properly on the bottom, and then we can build the top bracket.
Six brackets for our bracket.
There's a lot of affinity on the YouTubes for brackets. I personally hold Nick Blackhurst 100% responsible for that.
I'm driving, you're smiling, just really doing nothing. That's the thing I like about you. On the highway, it's our way, Route 66, and we keep on driving.
The next episode, Jess learns to TIG weld. She's bloody awesome at it, actually. I'm just going to throw that out there. Way better than my first TIG welds. It's not a competition. It is, but it's not. We finished the desk that we've been building. That gets installed in our studio. And we get our hot water cylinder fully installed into the engine room. Alright, so I'm going to show you Jess's first TIG weld. It's pretty bloody cool. That's a TIG weld. That's what they normally look like when they're like reasonable. This here is Jess's first TIG weld. Like, that's flipping amazing for a first TIG weld. I took me like maybe, I don't know, 20 welds to be able to get them uniform like that.
And then there's trying to fix ones that weren't so good.
It just, I mean, look at that.
I'm very proud. I think that was not bad.
For a first weld, that's bloody fine.
And I want to show you a really good one. Look at that. Damien's one. Ooh. Isn't that good? Beautiful.